When we were discussing marriage, Jolie and I agreed to each contribute 200,000 for the down payment on our marital home. Unexpectedly, Jolie's father was diagnosed with cancer, and the surgery plus follow-up treatment would also cost around 200,000. To avoid being a burden to his son, Jolie's father took his own life by jumping into a river. "Marrying you cost my father his life." That's the accusation Jolie would always throw at me during our arguments after we got married. He doesn't contribute any money to the household, shirks all domestic duties, and even drained all my savings while my mother was critically ill. To make matters worse, my mother-in-law abandoned the child and went back to her hometown. While I was overwhelmed and distracted, I was hit and killed by a truck. When I opened my eyes again, I had been reborn on the very day Jolie's father was diagnosed with cancer. In this life, I'm going to let this devoted son have exactly what he deserves. 1. Jolie said I came into his family with a pre-existing sin. When we were planning our marriage, we found a new apartment we liked, and the down payment was 400,000. Each of our families contributed 200,000, and then we took out a joint loan for the renovation. Just when everything seemed perfect, Jolie's father suddenly collapsed while we were discussing the wedding plans, and was diagnosed with liver cancer. The doctor said the prognosis wasn't good, and the costs would be significant. For the surgery and the targeted therapy drugs needed for follow-up treatment, Jolie's mother spoke with other patients' families and learned they had already spent 500,000 or 600,000 yuan. With no cure in sight, Jolie discussed it with me. We would postpone buying a marital home, as his family's money had to go towards his father's treatment first. I agreed, but my mother hesitated. My mother was worried. This illness is a bottomless pit. His family has little to fall back on. They might even have to sell his parents' house, and if the worst happens, he'll be left with a mountain of debt. Isn't that just jumping from the frying pan into the fire? For ordinary families, a serious illness is like a tidal wave. It can knock you down for half a lifetime. Right at that moment, his father slipped out of the hospital and jumped into the river, leaving a final message on his phone. He said he didn't want to be a burden to his family. And even more so, he didn't want to affect his son's marriage. This caused quite a stir. While people sighed with regret, they were also watching to see what would happen next between me and Jolie. If the bride backs out, won't old man Joe have died for nothing? Exactly, but this poor girl really had it rough. She hadn't even married into the family yet, and she was already shouldering the blame for a man's death, crushed under the weight of public scrutiny. The wedding proceeded as planned, albeit in a drastically simplified manner. During the rocky adjustment period after marriage, whenever we argued, Jolie always knew exactly what to say to leave me speechless and gasping for air. "My father died because of the pressure to marry you. How dare you have the nerve to pick a fight with me?" That phrase became my personal curse, forcing me to shoulder all the housework and the mortgage. While Jolie used his big money-making startup as an excuse to never contribute a single cent to the household, he even had the nerve to ask me for spending money from time to time. I thought having a child might change things, but Jolie remained the same. He'd just bark that he was in a critical phase of his venture and to stop bothering him. My mother couldn't stand watching it anymore, so she stepped in to help with the baby, allowing me to return to the workforce. After struggling through 3 or 4 years like this, just when my child was finally old enough for kindergarten and my mom could finally catch her breath, she fell seriously ill. I begged and pleaded with my mother-in-law to come look after the child, while I ran myself ragged, constantly shuttling between the hospital and my job. Who could have imagined that right in the middle of my utter turmoil, Jolie took advantage of my deep sleep, used my fingerprint to unlock my phone, and transferred all of my savings. That money is marital property. It should be saved for raising our child. Didn't your mother save a single penny her whole life? Why should you be the one to pay the medical bills? He had a ready answer when I confronted him, yet he knew full well that my mother, out of guilt over his father's death, had already drained her savings, helping us renovate our wedding home, looking after our child these past few years, and constantly giving us financial support. My mother-in-law twisted the knife even further. "Your mother wore herself out looking after your child. I'm not that foolish. I'm going back to my hometown. You had the child, you raise it yourself." I rushed toward the hospital, clutching my wailing child. At the intersection, I got a call from the hospital pressing for payment. Distracted and in a daze, I didn't notice the roaring 18-wheeler bearing down on me. The moment I was sent flying by the truck, I was shocked, furious, and utterly despairing. This life has been so suffocating. Truly, I'm filled with such regret. If only I could live one more time. I swear I won't live a life like this again. 2. When I opened my eyes again, Zhou was holding up a CT scan, his hand trembling slightly. The doctor said it's mid-stage liver cancer, very dangerous. He asked if we wanted to proceed with surgical resection or a liver transplant. Had I been reborn? I can't believe I'm back to the very day Zhou father was diagnosed with cancer. Upon hearing the devastating news, Zhou mother went limp and collapsed to the floor. She began rhythmically slapping the ground, wailing in a mournful, sing-song cadence. Why is my life so bitter? Oh, my old man, how am I supposed to go on without you? A cold sneer formed in my heart. In my past life, after the old man passed, you got along just fine, snatching up discounted eggs, browsing the market, scrolling through Douyin by day, dancing in the square at night, and even swiftly kindling a twilight romance. Zhou turned his expectant gaze toward me, as if waiting for me to make the decision. Are you kidding? He's asking his future daughter-in-law about his own father's life or death situation. Is he just setting things up to pass the blame later? Suppressing my restless emotions, I said quietly, whether it's surgery or waiting for a liver donor, as long as there's a sliver of hope. Children should face it proactively, don't you agree? You know how things are with my family, Zhou said helplessly, spreading his hands. I asked about the illness. The doctor said the family needs to prepare 200,000 up front. That means our wedding apartment is out of the question. And the follow-up treatments will keep draining money. We could end up losing everything and still be in debt. Zhou sighed, but his eyes darted toward me, gauging my reaction. Your father has had a hard life. Whatever you decide, I'll support you. I pretended not to catch his subtext. We can buy the apartment a few years later. Right now, getting him treatment is the priority. A look of disappointment flashed across Zhou face. His frustration turned toward his wailing mother. Mom, could you please not make a scene? We're in public. Have you no shame? Zhou mother wiped her face and stood up, sullen and resentful. If Uncle finds out we're using the house money for his treatment, he'll definitely refuse. He takes things to heart when he's sick. We mustn't let him know. I reminded them, trying to be helpful. Zhou and his mother exchanged a look, their expressions unreadable. Anyone can talk a good game. I won't make the same mistake I did in my past life. 3. In my previous life, after my mom found out that Zhou's father had cancer, she called Zhou. She supported the idea of prioritizing treatment over buying a house, but she insisted the wedding shouldn't be rushed. If necessary, it could be postponed. She didn't know that Zhou had put the call on speakerphone in the hospital room, letting his father hear the entire conversation. Later, Zhou's father jumped into the river. After the trials of my past life, I finally saw through Zhou's scheming nature. First, he used his father's illness to emotionally blackmail my family, driving down the cost of the marriage. Then, he leveraged my family's hesitation about the wedding to amplify his own father's guilt. After all, a filial son like him could never be the one to utter the words, "Let's stop the treatment." However, no one could have predicted that Zhou's father would take such a drastic turn, so he was quick to pin the blame for driving his father to his death on me. Over time, he even came to believe it himself. Now that I've been given a second chance at life, I'm going to let this filial son have his way. I used my mom's phone to block Zhou's number, then bought her a train ticket back to our hometown. Mom, haven't you always envied Auntie's idyllic life in the countryside? This is the perfect chance for you to go stay with her for 6 months or a year. To relax and clear your head. In my past life, out of guilt, my mother silently endured all of Zhou's nonsense and helped me raise my child until she fell ill. Only then did I realize the depth of my regret. In this life, I won't let her get tangled up in this mess again. As for me, breaking up with Zhou and walking away from this quagmire is the easy part, but the scolding and misplaced blame I endured in my past life, the tears I secretly shed on countless sleepless nights, the harm inflicted on me by Zhou and his mother is seared into my very flesh and bone. I can't bring myself to just let them off the hook so easily. 4. Lan, dear, does your mother know that Lei's father is in the hospital? Zhou's mother grabbed my arm and asked. I used my pre-planned excuse to brush it off. Oh, it's just one thing after another. My mom's gone back to our hometown. An elderly relative is in the hospital, and the younger generation has to take turns staying with them. She's so swamped she can't even pick up when I call. Zhou's mother complained, seeing as you and Lei are about to become family, your mother should be more focused on your affairs. She needs to know what's truly important. All those distant aunts and uncles, how can they compare to your own immediate family? I turned the tables on her. Exactly. Even though it's my grandmother who's sick, she has several sons and daughters of her own. Instead of relying on her own children to stay with her, She insisted on calling my mom, her daughter-in-law, back. Don't you think that shows a real lack of priority? Jolé's mother was taken aback. The thought struck her that she herself would be a future mother-in-law. If she ever fell ill and was hospitalized, she'd certainly expect her daughter-in-law to take care of her. She couldn't bring herself to agree. In my past life, Jolé's mom would call me for every little thing that happened at home, especially for any minor aches and pains. Even if Jolé was just lounging around at home, she'd insist I take time off work to accompany her to the doctor. She'd complain that Jolé wasn't as considerate or attentive as I was, but the truth was, she just couldn't bear to trouble her own son. Using me was simply more convenient for her. Mom, don't make things difficult, Jolé said as he pulled me out of the hospital room. He hesitated before suggesting, Lon, what if we just go ahead and get our marriage license first? It would really cheer my dad up. Who knows, if his spirits improve, it might even help with his recovery. I can't believe he had the nerve to suggest a marriage license as a good luck charm. It's just a ploy to emotionally blackmail my family, so I'd marry him with nothing. At zero cost to him. What a lovely fantasy. I have something that will make Uncle even happier. I pulled an agreement from my bag and handed it to him. The bold characters apartment purchase agreement immediately caught his eye. When he saw both his name and mine listed as the buyers, he was overjoyed. Where did you get so much money? He asked, his initial elation giving way to confusion, especially since his family hadn't contributed their promised $200,000. My mom scraped together all her savings and even borrowed from relatives to come up with the $200,000, I said with feigned seriousness. But let's be clear, this money has to be paid back. Of course, Jolé replied, his face lighting up with excitement. I'm going to show this to my dad. I watched his retreating back with a cold smile. It was just a preliminary reservation agreement. The deposit was fully refundable until it was converted into a formal down payment. It was worth it to trade a refundable booking agreement for their peace of mind so Jolé's father could focus on his treatment. Jolé's father was so moved his eyes grew moist. He kept running his fingers over the floor plan attached to the agreement, momentarily speechless, and could only manage a choked "Okay, Uncle, just focus on getting better. Once you've recovered, we'll all move into the new home together," I said, leaning in with comforting words. I feel a pang of guilt when I think of Jolé's father. I didn't know him for long in my past life, but he was truly a kind-hearted and genuine old man. Whenever I visited during our courtship, he would always prepare a lavish feast, and my favorite dish, braised carp, was never missing from the table. Having grown up without a father, I sensed a glimmer of paternal kindness in him. So in this life, even as I seek revenge, I want to avoid causing him any unintended harm. Meanwhile, Jolé's mother wore a smug expression, bragging animatedly to the family in the next hospital bed about how outstanding, successful, and filial her son was. The hospital room was quite a scene for a while. To my surprise, when Jolé walked me out of the room, he brought up getting our marriage license again. I looked at him with clear annoyance. I even chipped in to buy the apartment and put your name on it. Why are you still not sure about me? Besides, you know I want a proper wedding ceremony. Can't you even grant me this one little wish? I've been considerate enough already. Did you really think you could just marry me for the cost of a marriage license? Seeing I was genuinely upset, Jolé hurriedly tried to smooth things over, coaxing and appeasing me in every way he could. I'm just afraid you'll run off. I want to tie you down sooner rather than later, he said, feigning deep affection. If I wanted to run, I would have left when I first found out your dad was sick. Why would I still be here putting up with all this? Wouldn't it be easier to just call it quits and walk away? Besides, I get it, your parents raised you, and that wasn't easy. You should be filial, but my mom raised me all by herself, and that was even harder. Your family won't contribute to buying a house, fine. But you expect me to just marry you with nothing. How am I supposed to explain that to my mom? What, so you're the devoted son, and I'm just supposed to go along with it and let my mom lose face back home? Jolé, feeling guilty, hurriedly tried to placate her. All right. Once my dad's condition stabilizes, we'll have the wedding. We'll do it properly, a real celebration. I'll make sure you and your mom are both happy with it. He swore up and down, and I played along, pretending to be won over by his sweet talk. Before seizing the moment to drop another piece of news, there's an internal promotion coming up at my company soon. My boss hinted that I have a good shot and should go for it. If I land that manager position, my salary would double. Paying the down payment and the mortgage wouldn't be a problem then. Besides, your uncle's illness is going to cost a lot in the long run. The more I earn, the more I can help you out, making empty promises, please. I can do that too, Zhou was deeply moved by her words and was just about to whisper more sweet nothings when his mother, who had hurried out after them, interrupted. 6. Lan, we're family now, so I won't stand on ceremony with you, said Zhou mother, stepping forward and taking hold of my arm. Lei is swamped with work, and my health isn't great. You're young and strong. Could you take turns with him keeping watch at night? What a nerve, I sneered inwardly. Zhou mother was just as selfish and hypocritical as she was in my past life. She never mentioned night duty before, but now that she thinks I'm firmly locked into their family, she's in a hurry to dump this burden on me. She certainly doesn't stand on ceremony, asking a young fiancé who hasn't even married into the family to keep her future father-in-law company at his sickbed. Auntie, how about this? I'll pay for a night shift caregiver, that way you and Zhou can take turns during the day and get a bit of a break, I suggested. Oh, caregivers are so expensive, and you can't rely on them to be truly devoted. Family always cares more, don't you think? Zhou mother shook her head. Speaking of family, isn't Zhou summer break coming up soon? Maybe she could take some time off and come home to help for a few days. I mentioned Zhou sister, who was studying out of town. She's a young woman now. A grown daughter needs to maintain some boundaries with her father. It would be awkward for her to handle all the personal care. How could she manage? The hypocrisy never changes. A young daughter-in-law is expected to care for her father-in-law, but a young woman can't be asked to care for her own father. My expression turned cold. Auntie, I'll hire a professional caregiver instead. It's not convenient for me to provide the care myself, even after the caregiver was hired. Zhou mother was still unhappy. She promptly went and gave Zhou a heavily embellished account, claiming I looked down on his father and was unfilial. She ended up getting a scolding from Zhou for her trouble. He couldn't wait to call me, boasting about how he'd handled it and telling me to focus on preparing for the promotion competition. I pretended not to see through his little game, hung up the phone, and immediately threw myself into preparing for the promotion competition. In my previous life, I gave up on the promotion competition because of the accident involving Zhou father. The vacant position was in another city and required frequent travel. My competitor got the job and, within 2 years, was promoted twice, rocketing up to become a company executive. Meanwhile, I ended up having to resign, as I became pregnant and was further weighed down by family responsibilities. For secure document protection and reliable bookfinding bots, choose Xiaohu. It's stable, trustworthy, and you won't get scammed. When we met again, she was a competent, high-flying career woman, while I was a disheveled housewife. It was just one wrong decision. Starting from the same line, my life and my rivals ended up worlds apart. This time around, I won't make the same mistakes. The promotion competition a month later went really well. I got the manager position I wanted. And my boss gave me a few days off to get my things in order before my long-term assignment out of town. 7. A transfer. They never mentioned that during the promotion process, Zhou said, his face full of reluctance. My hands are tied. It's a mandatory company assignment. They're desperately short-staffed out there, I said, feigning helplessness. But there is a relocation allowance, 4,000 a month. Zhou anger turned to delight. As he had been fired from his company for taking too much time off to care for a sick relative, with no source of income and exhausted from days of hard work, he was completely worn out, both physically and mentally. You must be making over 10,000 a month now, plus your subsidies. Zhou clicked his tongue, a greedy glint in his eyes. I'm saving it all for when we get married, I declared with a grand gesture, continuing to paint a rosy picture. Zhou grinned so wide his eyes became slits. I kept sweet-talking him. Don't worry about quitting your job, just focus on taking care of your dad for now. I've got the money side of things covered for our family. I figure, after working out of town for a year or two, I can get transferred back. By then, I'll have saved up not just for the wedding, but for the home renovation too. Once the new apartment is handed over, we can tackle the renovation and wedding prep at the same time. A double celebration, how perfect would that be? See, how's that for a perfect picture of the future? Zhou was captivated by the bright future I painted, his face full of longing, but his joy was short-lived, as the doctor called him away to discuss the treatment plan. The current radiation therapy isn't very effective. We recommend you consider a liver transplant, though the cost is quite high. If a family member can provide a donor liver, the expenses would be lower, the doctor suggested. So, the question arose, who would donate the liver? 8. Zhou mother said with a long face, I'd love to donate, but I have high blood pressure, and I'm getting on in years. I'd never pass the medical screening. Zhou, who had come to visit during summer break, looked pale. I want to save our dad too. but I'm still in school. The recovery from surgery takes too long. It would definitely affect my studies. Having said that, they both turned to Jolie. Jolie broke out in a cold sweat. Mom, I'm not even married yet. What if donating part of my liver affects my health and Lan decides she doesn't want me anymore? All three of them turned to look at me. This familiar scene. Seriously, they want me to make the decision again. It's such a huge decision. I have no objections. I'll support whatever you decide. I passed the buck right back. The hopeful look in Jolie's eyes dimmed. Humph, what a selfish bunch. And yet they're all so concerned with saving face. Hoping someone else will play the villain for them. In my past life, every Qingming festival, Jolie would drag me to the gravesite and pour out the same remorseful spiel, over and over. Dad, I failed you. If I could do it all over again, I'd never get married, I'd rent for the rest of my life, I'd sell everything I own to pay for your treatment. I knew he was saying it for my benefit, while his mother and Jobei stood by, fanning the flames. It's all because you insisted on marrying this wonderful wife of yours. Humph. What kind of family drives its elders to an early grave over a daughter-in-law? Ours, apparently. Exactly. Dad worked hard his whole life, only to come to this end. It's just heartbreaking. Under the weight of their relentless condemnation, my heart grew heavier with each annual visit to the graves. I lived like a walking corpse, crushed by the sheer force of their collective judgment. I was sentenced to a prison of the mind, with a life term. In this lifetime, I'll make sure they get exactly what they wish for, a full dose of filial piety. Hey, you don't have to be a relative to donate, right? Jolie's mother's eyes lit up as she grabbed my arm tightly. Sweetheart, why don't you go get tested too? You never know, you might be a match. That suggestion was like a drop of water hitting a hot oil pan. Jolie and Jobei were instantly electrified. Right. How did I not think of that? As long as the match is compatible, it works. Even a stranger's can be used. It doesn't have to be from a relative. Exactly. Sister-in-law looks so much healthier than me. I'm sure it'll be fine. 9. Some people are just shameless beyond belief. I looked at Jolie. Do you also think I should go for the compatibility test? Jolie regained his composure, calmed down, and lowered his head. Unable to meet my gaze, Jolie's mother wore a look of deep concern. Good child, we truly consider you part of the family. If you're really a match, I swear, you'll be the Zhou family's savior for life. I promise I'll be good to you for the rest of my days. Look, sis-in-law, don't be scared. I just spoke with the doctor. The liver can regenerate. It'll be all healed in a month or two, and it won't interfere with your work at all, Jobei hurriedly explained. Having apparently forgotten who it was that just said the recovery period was too long and would affect her studies, when it comes to making empty promises and sheer audacity, I'm still no match for the Zhou family's deep-rooted expertise. I sneered inwardly, then looked up with a sincere expression and said, how about this? Let's all go get tested for compatibility. We'll let the results do the talking. I refused to believe that a biological relative wouldn't be a match, but somehow I would be. Besides, even if we were a match, donation is supposed to be voluntary. They can't exactly strap me to the operating table if I refuse, can they? So what if I end up being the bad guy for the rest of my life? A week later, the tissue typing results came in. Neither mine nor Jobei's were a match. Jolie's was the most compatible. I breathed a sigh of relief, ready to watch the Zhou family's drama unfold. Jobei rushed into the hospital room, wiping her tears. Dad. I wish so much that I was a match. The doctor said some patients can live for over 20 years after a liver transplant. Our surgery is sure to be a success. That's right, old man, Jolie's mother said, also dabbing at her eyes. We don't need someone else's liver, and we won't waste money. It's just a pity for our poor Lei. Only Jolie's expression was the most grim. He looked at this picture-perfect, loving family, his face dark and terrifying. I heard a liver transplant costs a fortune. Is the deposit we put down at the hospital enough? I whispered to him as a reminder. Jolie was taken aback for a moment before catching my drift. He then turned and went to find the attending physician. A long while later, he emerged looking much more at ease. He then called Jobei and his mother out to discuss things. The doctor said the hospital deposit we paid isn't enough. We'll need another 300,000 for the transplant surgery. Mom, how much do we have in savings? We should use all of it, Jolie said, looking at his mother. Jolie's mother's face fell. She muttered under her breath, where would we get the money? Then let's sell the house, Jolie said bluntly. His mother immediately objected. And where would I live? No, we can't sell the house. Exactly, if we sell the house, we'll have no home. Brother, you have to think of another way, Jobei chimed in. Jolie snorted. I'm the one putting in the effort to care for him, donating part of my liver, and now I have to come up with the money too. What are you contributing? You're always going on about gender equality and a daughter's right to inheritance. What, you just want the rights without any of the responsibilities? Cut off, Zhou protested. I haven't graduated yet. If I had a job and was earning money, of course I'd contribute. That private college of yours isn't worth it. It's expensive and not that great. Just drop out. Besides, with all this family trouble, there's no way we can afford next year's tuition, 50 or 60,000 a year. Give us all a break. Zhou Lei went in for the kill. Mom, look at what he's saying. Zhou Bei turned to her mother for backup. Now, Lei, don't be so hasty. We can't just have Bei drop out. Their mother was at a loss, looking back and forth between her daughter and son. Flustered, I stifled a laugh, trying to shrink into the corner and make myself as inconspicuous as possible, but I still didn't escape the eagle eye of Zhou Lei's mom. Lan, we're all family now, Zhou Lei's mom said, looking at me eagerly. I knew it. Whenever she was about to rope me into something, she always started with we're all family. Could you scrape together a bit of money? I reminded her. Auntie. You've forgotten, my family just put down a 400,000 down payment, and my mom had to borrow a lot of money on top of that. Sis-in-law, isn't your company doing pretty well? Your colleagues must have money. Why not start a crowdfunding campaign or ask your boss for a loan? Zhou Bei suggested. The sheer audacity. Crowdfunding. The Zhou family has a house and a car. They haven't even been hit hard yet and they're already looking for someone else to bail them out. It's selfish people like this who ruin crowdfunding, making it harder for those who are truly in need to get help. Crowdfunding is a bad idea. If people find out your family has a car and a house, my reputation will be ruined. I just got a promotion and a raise. It would affect how my boss sees me. What if I lost my job because of this? I trailed off, looking at Zhou Lei. No, Zhou Lei objected. If Lan borrows money, it's the same as me borrowing it. I just lost my job. She can't be out of work too. I raised an eyebrow. My recent efforts at painting a rosy picture had paid off. Zhou Lei had realized he and I were in this together. After all, his family was a burden now, and I was the only hope, to pull him out of the mire and give him a good life. I don't care. If you want me to donate part of my liver, Mom has to sell the house, and Bei, you can forget about that lousy university of yours. Either go find a job or come to the hospital to take care of Dad. Don't think you can just stand by and do nothing. Zhou Lei laid down the law, then got up and left. I made myself scarce right after him. Sure enough, I got to witness the infighting drama that I'd missed in my previous life. With me, their natural adversary, out of the picture, the Zhou family finally dropped the act and stopped pretending. But I didn't get to enjoy the show for long, as I had to leave town to take up my new post. I made a point of telling the caregiver to look after old Mr. Zhou properly and to notify me immediately of any unusual developments. Zhou Lei also kept me selectively updated on the hospital situation. After round of heated arguments, they finally reached a consensus to back down and cancel the transplant surgery. The delight in Zhou Lei's voice was unmistakable over the phone. I knew he genuinely didn't want to donate part of his liver and had only tried to drag everyone else into it when he was backed into a corner. Zhou Lei's mother didn't want to sell the house, and Zhou Bei didn't want to interrupt her studies. With no one willing to budge, the result was that Zhou Lei's father was the one who had to give in, forego the transplant surgery and continue with conservative treatment. I sighed, feeling helpless in the face of what had happened to Zhou Lei's father. The caregiver's calls kept coming, filling me in on the latest with the Zhou family. That old woman is just awful. The patient has no appetite and can't eat after chemo, and she just yells and scolds him, blaming him for wasting money. They practically forced the old man to eat, and after just a couple of bites, he threw it all up, soiling his clothes. The old woman then flew into a rage, stomping and cursing. The old man was scolded so badly he couldn't even lift his head. The other families in the ward could see it was wrong, but there was nothing they could do. As for their son, whenever he showed up, he'd just grab a stool, huddle in a corner with his phone, and ignore the old man who was trying to talk to him. Their daughter, every time she came, she'd either be fighting with her mother or arguing with her brother, constantly bickering over who spent more time on care duty and who got the short end of the stick. I've seen the old man crying in secret more than a few times. It's just heartbreaking. Zhou Lei's phone calls were also full of complaints. Either grumbling about the hospital bills bleeding him dry, or blaming his father for being a burden. A friend of mine has this fantastic business opportunity and wants me in on it, but where am I supposed to get the capital? I can only watch the chance slip right through my fingers. People always say an old person at home is a treasure, but mine, well, sigh, 11, Zhou Lei's father's condition deteriorated rapidly. The attending physician reminded the family. The patient's mental state is crucial. A poor mood and a weak will to live can significantly impact the effectiveness of the treatment. Unexpectedly, this reminder angered Zhou Lei. Over the next few days, the nurses coming to change dressings and administer IVs faced all sorts of unreasonable complaints. What's the big idea? Can't you even let my father have a proper meal in peace? Does the 4 absolutely have to be right now? Are you even competent? You've missed the vein twice already. The old man is sick and miserable enough as it is. Are you trying to make things worse for the patient? What's with your attitude? Watch it, or I'll file a complaint against you. After a few rounds of this, he'd reduced several nurses to tears with his scolding. Then he turned his attention to the attending physician. Doctor, look at all the money we've spent on this hospital stay. We've followed every prescription you've given. So why is the treatment only making things worse? We've thrown over 100,000 into this, and we haven't even heard a peep of improvement. That doesn't seem right, does it? Is it because we opted out of the liver transplant? Do you feel you didn't get your cut from us, so now you're not putting in the effort? Are you just trying to drag out the treatment to squeeze more money out of us? His words infuriated the attending physician, who ended up calling security to have Zhou Lei thrown out of the office. Just wait. Zhou Lei said to me over the phone, his voice dripping with venom, these quacks only care about money. They're not even trying to treat my father properly. I have a way to deal with them. Just you wait. To my surprise, Zhou Lei's plan was to stalk the attending physician. He followed him for several days, figured out which school his child attended, and even took a few photos. Let me make this clear, if you don't do your best to treat my father, your kid won't be safe either. He showed the photos, and the attending physician's face went pale. He turned around and called the police immediately. Zhou Lei got a talking to from the police, and the hospital promptly made adjustments by assigning a new attending physician to his father. The new doctor was very cautious, pointing out the limitations of our hospital's medical equipment and recommending a transfer to a more renowned major hospital. The caregiver called me, utterly baffled. What's this family playing at? All this fuss has just upset the doctors and nurses. Who's going to put their heart into the treatment now? Only I knew the real score. This so-called devoted son was just looking for another way to shift the blame. In the previous life, he pinned all the blame on me. But in this life, the hospital that cost him over 100,000 in medical bills became his most hated enemy, and his unfilial nature was laid bare before the doctors and nurses. To shift the blame, of course the villain strikes first with accusations. Incompetent and unethical doctors, only out for money and not diligent. This was the fabricated charge he wove to pass the buck. 12. I never expected Zhou Lei's father would take his own life again. The caregiver called me in a panic. The old man jumped into the river. The Zhou family is furious. They're carrying the body and causing a scene at the hospital, blaming them for it. They even dragged me into it, yelling at me and threatening to sue me too. But I'm only responsible for the night shift, which ends at 7 a.m. His family didn't show up until after 10. How is it my fault if no one was watching him in between? I rushed to take leave and hurried to the hospital from out of town. Before I even entered, I saw several funeral wreaths blocking the entrance. Several people in mourning attire were wailing, and a body covered with a white cloth was laid out at the entrance. The blocked entrance cut off the flow of traffic into the hospital, causing a massive traffic jam on the whole street. Even ambulances couldn't get through. The blaring horns from those rushing to the hospital or visiting patients created a deafening cacophony that set one's nerves on edge. But the Zhou family at the eye of the storm paid no mind to the chaos outside their door. The larger the crowd of onlookers grew, the more they seemed to thrive on the attention. Zhou Lei's mother was weeping as if her heart would break, nearly fainting from grief. Zhou Lei himself was wailing loudly, while Zhou Bei, not to be outdone, cried in dramatic sobs. Someone must have tipped off the media, as a reporter was already on the scene, recording a segment in front of a camera. What a spectacle of medical harassment. As the reporters' cameras turned towards them, Zhou Lei sprang to his feet, indignantly denouncing, "This hospital killed my father. The hospital has no medical ethics. They only care about extorting money all day. The doctors and nurses are irresponsible and even verbally and physically abuse patients. We entrusted our perfectly healthy elder to them, spent over 100,000, and now he's dead under suspicious circumstances. We demand answers." Zhou Lei's mother chimed in, "Exactly. These doctors have no conscience. They're heartless. They killed my husband. There's no justice. An ordinary person's life matters too," Zhou Bei stated firmly. If the hospital shirks its responsibility, we will use the full force of the law to protect our rights, the reporter countered. The patient's body was found in the river. The hospital requested an autopsy. Why did the family refuse? The dead deserve respect. My old man is gone. And you still want to tamper with his body? On what grounds? Are you in cahoots with the hospital? Why are you taking their side? Zhou Lei's mother turned the tables. The reporter was left speechless for a moment before defending. We're just trying to report the truth. The truth is the hospital drove the patient to his death, and now they're trying to shirk responsibility. Zhou Lei stated bluntly. That's right, you have to pay up. Don't even think about weaseling out of it. Zhou Lei's mother snarled, her face fierce. Tisk, it's all just a shakedown for money, murmured the onlookers in hushed discussion. I heard the old man jumped into the river himself. It was suicide. No wonder they're refusing an autopsy. On the other hand, the hospital does share some responsibility for not keeping a closer eye on the patient. A hospital isn't a daycare center. If a patient changes clothes and sneaks out to harm themselves, what can anyone do? Blaming the doctors is ridiculous. Should they assign a personal bodyguard to every single patient? Exactly, hospitals are for treatment, not prisons. If even the patient's own family couldn't watch them, how can you blame the hospital? Perhaps the chatter from the onlookers grew too loud, because Zhou Lei overheard it. He pointed a menacing finger around the crowd and snapped, mind your own business. What's it got to do with any of you? His eyes swept over and landed on me, lighting up. Lon Lon, you're back, come here, quick. I really didn't want to stand there with them. It was so embarrassing, but I had to come. Zhou Lei's father left a final message. It was on his phone, placed by the pillow on the hospital bed, but with the Zhou family making a scene and the hospital overwhelmed, no one noticed. 13. I got hold of the phone and, sure enough, found the suicide note. Zhou Lei's father said the pain had become unbearable, and he chose to end his life to avoid being a burden to his family. He made a point of saying that the doctors and nurses at the hospital were very responsible, for which he was grateful, and he urged his family not to cause trouble for anyone. His death had nothing to do with anyone else. Zhou Lei's father lived half a year longer in this life than in the last, but this time was not a good one. He endured physical illness while also suffering the psychological torment from his wife, son, and daughter. He saw their true colors, selfish, cold-hearted, and greedy. He was deeply disappointed, but to the very end, he never uttered a single harsh word, hoping only that his death would put an end to it all, and to give his own family a way out. The full truth came to light, and the hospital was found not liable. Out of humanitarian considerations, they only waived a portion of the treatment costs for Zhou Lei's father. Zhou Lei refused to accept it. The phone was left in the hospital room the whole time. Who can guarantee this so-called last message was really from my dad? For all I know, you people at the hospital could have cooked this up. Exactly, you people have no conscience, wailed Zhou Lei's mother. You'll stoop to any trick just to avoid paying compensation. Zhou Bei, meanwhile, started recording a video on her phone. Today, I'm exposing a hospital that treats human life as worthless and even fabricates last words. It's absolutely ridiculous. You see, people only believe what they want to believe. The truth doesn't matter when money's on the line. After negotiations with the hospital broke down, Zhou Lei made a threat and promptly hired a team of professional medical dispute instigators. A group of people took turns blocking the hospital entrance, holding up banners. Just you wait, Zhou Lei said through gritted teeth. The hospital won't just have to cough up every penny we spent. They'll have to pay an extra $1 million in compensation before this is over. In this life, Zhou Lei once again chose the path of entrepreneurship. With no capital, he resorted to a high-interest loan, only to lose everything. Desperate, he saw no other option but to take a huge risk and try to extort money from the hospital. The misleading video posted by Zhou Bei unexpectedly went viral, leading a wave of uninformed public criticism against the hospital. After all, who doesn't have some pent-up frustration in their life? People found an outlet, transforming into self-righteous critics and venting their pent-up aggression online with abandon. Left with no other choice, the hospital had to resort to legal means to protect its rights. 14. On the day of the court hearing, the Zhou family was surprised to find me among the witnesses for the hospital. Furthermore, I have provided a series of video and telephone recordings. For instance, the verbal abuse and cold indifference shown by the Zhou family towards Zhou Lei's father in the hospital room, such as the sound of Zhou Lei's father weeping helplessly in his hospital bed, as well as testimonies from other family members in the same ward. All the evidence points to the family's attitude as the root cause of Zhou Lei's father losing his will to live. I asked the caregiver to record the video because I didn't believe the Zhou family would treat the old man that way and wanted to see proof. Zhou Lei's father was quite kind to the caregiver. On several occasions when the family members deliberately picked fights, it was he who stepped in to defuse the situation. Moved by the moment, the caregiver recorded a bit more and sent it all to me, even warning me that the Zhou household was a pit of misery and that I should keep my wits about me. I also recorded evidence of Zhou Lei contacting professional medical troublemakers. In the courtroom, I confronted Zhou Lei directly. It was your personal incompetence and shirking of responsibility, along with your family's coldness and selfishness, that drove your father to take his own life as a last resort. But who would have thought you'd turn that tragic end into a path to profit, to achieve your goals? You even disregarded the old man's final wishes. Your father has passed, yet you use his remains as a tool for extortion. When you wake in the dead of night, aren't you afraid he'll come back to settle the score? Zhou Lei lost it. He charged towards me, only to be intercepted by the bailiff. Why, did the hospital pay you off? Why are you testifying for them? He screamed. His voice raw with desperation. I stared back at him coldly. Only I knew I was doing this for myself. In my past life, for countless days and nights, I wanted to scream that none of this was my fault, but that label was stuck to me, and no one would listen to my defense. In this lifetime, I can finally stand before everyone with my head held high and say this: your father died for your family, and for no one else. The Zhou family lost the lawsuit. 15. Such an unreasonable, exorbitant claim was naturally not supported. As soon as the verdict was announced, public opinion quickly turned against the Zhou family. Wherever they went, people pointed fingers and whispered. Zhou Lei's mother no longer dared to go square dancing or play mahjong. A video of her tormenting Zhou Lei's father in the hospital room was posted online, and everyone looked on her with utter contempt for deliberately twisting the truth. Zhou Bei not only had her social media accounts banned but was also doxxed and cyberbullied. At school, she became a public enemy. The psychological torment I endured in my past life has now come back to haunt the Zhou family. Zhou Lei had it even worse. He was on the run from loan sharks, truly at the end of his rope. Zhou Lei demanded to meet, looking to settle the score. Why did you do this? What good does ruining me do for you? I wanted to ask the same thing in my past life, but I figured it out later. He ruined me back then to keep me subservient forever, to turn me into a slave for the Zhou family, someone they could beat and berate at will. And in this life, I'm simply giving them a taste of their own medicine, returning all the evil their family has sown. So you want to break up with me? Zhou Lei sneered. Don't forget, we still own an apartment together. Getting rid of me won't be that easy. Oh, I almost forgot about that since you didn't mention it, I said with a laugh. I gave up my share of that apartment a long time ago. You, Zhou Lei slammed his fist on the table. So you planned this all along. How calculating of you. Zhou Lei's phone rang. He glanced at it and dismissed the call. Moments later, it started buzzing again. Right back at you. I might as well tell you, I'm in debt now. If you want a clean break, fine, give me 200,000, Zhou Lei threatened. That's a joke. Breaking up isn't a divorce. I don't need your permission, and you want money. On what grounds? I shot him a contemptuous look. On the grounds that you're so good at outsourcing filial piety, or on the grounds that you're a master at passing the buck. Enraged by my words, Zhou Lei clenched his fist, stood up, and was about to throw a punch. I stumbled back a couple of steps to dodge, and my handbag gaped open, revealing a dozen or so bundles of cash inside. Zhou Lei followed my gaze to the money and was overjoyed. Consider this my compensation, he said. He scooped up the bag, turned, and started to leave. He's stealing the money, I shouted. A burly man rushed over from nearby, grabbed him, and subdued him in no time. Did he really think I'd meet him without any preparation, knowing full well how dangerous it was? The bodyguard I hired online is a former soldier. He could handle not just one Zhou Lei, but 3 or 5 of him without breaking a sweat. Everything he just did was recorded by the bodyguard from the sidelines. Don't accuse me of entrapment. If he hadn't harbored any ill intent in the first place, I wouldn't have been able to touch him. The bodyguard and I took him to the police station and reported him for robbery, with both witnesses and physical evidence stacked against him, and a huge amount of cash found in his bag. Once he goes in, he's looking at a solid 8 to 10 years, easy, on the way there. I answered a call from a loan shark for him. Even if he's locked up, the debt won't just disappear. The Zhou family still has that house. After all, his mess, well, the Zhou family will be the ones cleaning it up. After all that, the heavy gloom that had been weighing on my chest finally lifted. In the end, it all comes down to this: the wheel of justice turns, and no one escapes its judgment. Story 2, I found a ring. And after putting it on, the school heartthrob Lu Minghan fell in love with me at first sight and started pursuing me madly. I'm just an ordinary person, but he insists I'm the most beautiful girl in the world. Even his friends say he's gone crazy, mocking that love is blind and he's mistaking a fisheye for a pearl. After being with Lu Minghan for 6 months, I gradually accepted this reality, let down my guard, and opened up to him, even visiting his family home. But the very next day, my ring went missing. Lu Minghan panicked, pushed me away, and demanded to know who I really was. He broke up with me in front of our friends, demonizing me as some kind of monster. The Shenli I knew wasn't like this. It's disgusting. I actually spent over half a year with a woman like this. Time rewound, and the ring took me back 6 months. Turns out wearing it could transform me into my crush's ideal type. I stared at the ring in a daze but didn't put it on again. Instead, I locked it away and never touched it. What I didn't expect was that Lu Minghan also traveled back 6 months with me. 1. After standing up Chen Jiajiao, she didn't attend the gathering that evening. She spoke with a dejected expression. Lu Minghan never showed up to the dinner. It seems he's fallen ill. I froze for a moment before offering her some words of comfort. Then next time, Chen Jiajiao held on to my arm and pouted. Shenli, will you come with me to the next dinner? It's all men there, and I'm the only girl. It's so awkward for me. I smiled and pushed her hand away. Why don't you just ask Lulu to go with you? Chen Jiajiao's expression froze for a moment. She won't go. Shenli, please say yes to me. I'm begging you. I knew why Chen Jiajiao was so insistent on dragging me along, because Sulu was pretty, and she couldn't allow her to steal the spotlight. While I was average looking, the perfect supporting character. In my past life, I followed Chen Jiajiao to a party, but to everyone's surprise, Lu Minghan didn't take a liking to Chen Jiajiao. Instead, he developed a special fondness for me, the green leaf beside the flower. After the party ended, Lu Minghan began pursuing me relentlessly. At first, I couldn't understand his intentions and thought it might be some prank by these privileged elites, but his subsequent pursuit and attitude gradually made me lower my guard. He treated me exceptionally well, remaining steadfast regardless of his friends' dissuasions. I could see his sincerity and was gradually moved by him, eventually becoming his girlfriend. But just when I gave him my heart, after a night of passion, Lu Minghan changed. He screamed and drove me out, claiming he didn't know me at all. I felt like I'd fallen into hell. When I returned to school, I found my ring was missing and had to go back to Lu Minghan's house to search for it. When I went back, Lu Minghan was with friends. His face was full of disgust, looking utterly repulsed. The Shenli I knew wasn't like this. It's disgusting. I actually spent over half a year with such a woman. What the hell is going on? I stood frozen in place, my soul seemingly drained away. The next second, time rewound, and I returned to the period before Lu Minghan knew me. The dropped ring lay quietly in my drawer. I unwrapped the packaging and saw the instruction sheet inside the box. Turns out this ring possessed magic. Wearing it would transform you into your crush's ideal type. Seeing my failed attempts to win over Lu Minghan, it directly sent me back 6 months. I stared blankly at the ring, but never put it on again, instead locking it away in a cabinet, never to touch it. 2. Not long after, Chen Jiajiao started begging me again. Lu Minghan organized another gathering, specifically inviting Chen Jiajiao, and even asked her to bring her roommate along. Shenli, please, I'm begging you, come with me. I was utterly annoyed and shouted out in the dorm, Lu Minghan said you could bring your roommate, so everyone in the dorm could go. Why don't you ask them? See who wants to have dinner with Lu Minghan. As soon as I mentioned it, it quickly piqued everyone else's interest. Turns out Chen Jiajiao had only told me about it, but now everyone knew and got excited. In the end, except for me, everyone in the dorm agreed to go. Sulu also came over to persuade me. Everyone's going, so just come along. Shenli, it's college. You should experience college life at least once. Sulu's words made me hesitate. It's been almost a month since I returned, and I feel like my heart has become still as water regarding Lu Minghan. Perhaps treating him with calmness would make it easier to dispel his charm. Besides, without the halo brought by the ring this time, and with all my roommates being beauties, I doubt anyone would bother me. Just treat it as going out for a fancy meal. After agreeing, on that day I didn't even put on makeup, just wore a hoodie with jeans, tied my hair in a ponytail, and went out looking fresh and clean. Lu Minghan and his group arrived early. The people who came to pick them up were Lu Minghan's classmates. As expected, I didn't attract any attention, and no one tried to strike up a conversation with me. We quietly made our way to the dinner gathering. Lu Minghan sat in the corner, dressed simply, yet his handsome face made his clothes look like high-end tailored suits. He was good-looking and came from a wealthy family. Hardly any girl could see him without their heart racing. After taking my seat, I heard Chen Jiaojiao's excited voice. "Shenli, is Lu Minghan looking at us?" I looked up and met Lu Minghan's gaze. His brows tightly furrowed, his sharp eyes held a complex expression, as if trying to see right through me. My brow twitched as I nodded with a quiet "Yes, he's looking at you." I was naturally quiet to begin with, and once the dishes arrived, I focused entirely on eating, completely disengaging from the table conversation and tuning out all the noise, until Sulu awkwardly nudged me. "Shenli." I looked up and only then noticed everyone's gazes were on me. Lu Minghan's face was dark, his expression particularly stiff. "Shenli, Lu Minghan just greeted you," Sulu whispered softly, while Lu Minghan smiled with a hint of mockery in his eyes. "Jiao, how long has your friend been starving to eat like this?" After Lu Minghan's remark, the room fell silent for a moment. His friend Jiang Rang was the first to react, quickly stepping in to defuse the situation. "Minghan, what kind of talk is that? You're just worried there won't be enough food. Waiter, let's order a few more dishes." Lu Minghan didn't respond. I wiped my mouth, stood up, and smiled graciously at everyone around. "Sorry, I hadn't eaten before coming and was too hungry. I'll punish myself with a drink. You all enjoy yourselves, no need to mind me." I picked up the drink and downed it in one go, but Lu Minghan still wore a sour expression, finding fault again, using a drink to toast us. That's not very sincere. I looked at Lu Minghan with calm eyes. "I'm allergic to alcohol." Sulu awkwardly pulled me aside and explained to Lu Minghan. "Shenli really is allergic to alcohol, the kind who collapses after one drink." After I sat down, Lu Minghan kept a cold face and didn't say another word from start to finish. I didn't care why he was acting up. After finishing the meal, when they were about to go sing, I announced my departure. Chen Jiaojiao awkwardly apologized to me. "Sorry, Shenli, I didn't know Lu Minghan would act like this tonight. He might be in a bad mood." I waved my hand saying it was nothing, and as I went out, I saw Jiang Rang and Lu Minghan who had helped me out earlier. "What's wrong with you? Had too much to drink? Why give that girl a hard time?" The companion beside also chimed in. "Yeah, even if she's not good looking, you could just ignore her. Why make the atmosphere so awkward?" I happened to walk over, and those guys were all stunned. Jiang Rang was the first to react. "Shenli, let's go sing together." I smiled at him. "No thanks. You guys have fun, I'm heading back." Jiang Rang walked towards me. "Let me walk you back." Before I could speak, I heard Lu Minghan say coldly, "Let her walk by herself." 3. I looked at Lu Minghan, feeling anger rising in my heart too. "Jiang Rang, you should see me off." Jiang Rang was taken aback for a moment, then followed me. "I'll see Shenli off. You all go ahead first." After Jiang Rang came out with me, he asked curiously, "Did you know Lu Minghan before?" "I don't know you." I hailed a taxi, then turned to look at Jiang Rang. "What I said earlier was out of anger. You can go back. I don't need you to see me off." I got in the car, but Jiang Rang insisted on coming with me. "I don't feel comfortable letting a girl take a cab alone at night." I couldn't help but chuckle. "You're quite the gentleman." I didn't talk much with Jiang Rang in the car, and when we arrived at school, he asked for my WeChat, but I didn't give it. Pretending to be a self-absorbed girl, "I'm not planning to date anyone, sorry." Jiang Rang's face turned slightly red. "I'm not. See you later." I interrupted him and walked away coolly. I knew Jiang Rang couldn't possibly be interested in me. He's good-looking, on par with Lu Minghan. How could he possibly take a liking to someone like me? I was just making excuses to keep these people away from me. But after today, Jiang Rang seemed to take an interest in me and started frequently reaching out. He asked Chen Jiaojiao for my WeChat and often picked me up after class. Today was no exception. He brought me milk tea and asked me out for dinner outside the classroom. "Are you free later? Want to grab dinner together?" Chen Jiaojiao came out with me and looked utterly surprised when she saw Jiang Rang striking up a conversation with me. "Are you asking Shenli out for dinner?" Jiang Rang nodded. I was also extremely curious about why Jiang Rang had taken an interest in me. I agreed to have dinner with him. And on the way, I asked him, "Do you think I'm pretty? Am I the goddess in your mind?" Jiang Rang was left speechless by my question. I confirmed he wasn't affected by the halo, then continued asking, "Probably not, right? I look pretty ordinary. Why would you ask me out to eat?" Jiang Rang thought for a moment. "I think your personality is quite interesting." I smiled faintly. "Oh really? I don't quite believe that." I was chatting with him, looking quite intimate, when at that moment, I saw Lu Minghan. Lu Minghan stood in the distance, his gaze icy cold, staring intently at us. Looking at him, I naturally took Jiang Rang's hand. Jiang Rang froze in place, while Lu Minghan approached from the other side, suppressing his anger as he pulled me over. Jiang Rang, she's nothing like what you see, snap out of it. Lu Minghan's words sent a shiver down my entire body. Jiang Rang couldn't comprehend what Lu Minghan was saying. What are you talking about? What's wrong with Shenli? Let her go, you're hurting her. Jiang Rang wanted to come pull me away, but Lu Minghan had already grabbed me and dragged me off. My mind was in turmoil. I tried to break free, but couldn't no matter how hard I struggled. When we reached a quiet spot, Lu Minghan finally released my hand, his eyes dark as he glared at me. What's this, Shenli? Since you can't conquer me, you've switched targets. Are you really this fickle, this fond of deceiving people? I furrowed my brows, growing increasingly uneasy inside. What are you talking about? Lu Minghan clenched his teeth tightly. You know what I'm talking about. I fell silent, forming a ridiculous speculation in my mind. If I've gone back half a year, is it possible that Lu Minghan also traveled back half a year like me? If that's the case, then all his current reactions would make sense. My mind is in complete turmoil, thinking how cruel fate can be to play such tricks on me. But I truly don't want to have any interaction with Lu Minghan anymore. So I pretended not to understand him. I don't know what you're talking about. I have no relationship with Jiang Rang. I'm not interested in him. Please make it clear to him and tell him to stop bothering me. I spoke wearily, silently apologizing to Jiang Rang in my heart. There was no other way. If I wanted to stay away from Lu Minghan, I had to distance myself from his friends as well. This time, I just want to live my life in peace and quiet. I'm just an ordinary person. I can't participate in the lives of those privileged elites. You, Lu Minghan looked absolutely furious. How can you be so shameless? Clearly, it was you who schemed to seduce Jiang Rang, and now you're telling him to get lost. I raised an eyebrow. What scheme am I playing? Didn't you tell Jiang Rang not to be fooled by me? I can't be bothered to deceive him, nor do I care to interact with you all. We're not close. So don't disturb me in the future. Lu Minghan sneered. It better be that way. I nodded, definitely. With this utterance, I bid farewell in my heart. Lu Minghan, let's have no more entanglements in this lifetime. Lu Minghan froze, his mouth opening slightly, but no words came out. I turned and walked away, leaving Jiang Rang confused about what had happened. But after that, I ignored him completely. When he came looking for me, I pretended not to see him. After several attempts, Jiang Rang blocked the classroom door, standing right in front of me the moment I stepped out. Shenli, can we talk? His face was pale, with dark circles under his eyes, looking like he hadn't slept well. I sighed. Didn't I tell you not to come looking for me? I'm not interested in you. Jiang Rang's expression looked somewhat hurt. Is it because of Minghan? What did he say to you? His words don't represent my thoughts. Shenli, please don't take them to heart. Okay, my expression was indifferent. It has nothing to do with him. I'm really not interested in you. Please stop coming to me. I need to focus on studying now. Jiang Rang pressed his lips together, forcing a strained smile. You've misunderstood. I just want to be friends. Is even that not allowed? I felt a bit reluctant, but still said, sorry, please don't come looking for me anymore. Many people witnessed this scene, including my roommate Qin Jiajiao. That night, when I returned from studying, I heard Qin Jiajiao's voice at the dormitory entrance. Does Jiang Rang have some kind of ugly fetish? Why would he be interested in Shenli? I've racked my brains trying to figure it out. Shenli is so ordinary, while he's so handsome. How could he possibly pursue her? And to top it off, he got rejected by Shenli. This world is just too surreal. Qin Jiajiao sighed in amazement. Listening from outside, I couldn't help but twitch the corner of my mouth, unsure whether to enter now or not. To be honest, I didn't wear the ring and had no interest in Jiang Rang. Logically speaking, without the halo effect, there's no way he would have taken a liking to me, so I also find it quite surreal. After Qin Jiajiao finished speaking, her roommate Su Lu asked, I also find it strange. Maybe Jiang Rang values personality more. Jiajiao, how are things with Lu Minghan? Haven't you been going out with him these days? Qin Jiajiao's expression froze. We're getting along just fine. So when do you think you'll get together? After Su Lu asked, Qin Jiajiao gave an evasive reply. It's still too early. We're taking things slow. Seeing they had changed the subject, I finally entered the room. They were momentarily surprised to see me, but quickly greeted me warmly. Qin Jiajiao asked gossipily about what exactly happened between Jiang Rang and me. Shenli, did Jiang Rang confess to you? I smiled, not wanting to ruin our superficial relationship either. Being surface-level roommates to get through the rest of our college years seemed fine. What are you talking about? He was just asking me for advice on a problem. How could he possibly be confessing to me? Qin Jiajiao's eyes darted around. So you're not interested in him at all then? No interest. How could there ever be anything between us? Right now I'm only interested in studying. Chen Jiajiao smiled. Shenli, you're such a bookworm. I smiled too. Studying is about contributing to the nation's development. What's the point of dating? I've read several books recently and would like to recommend them to you. Whenever I brought up studying, they would lose interest and give me perfunctory responses. So I just stopped talking to enjoy some peace. After that day, Jiang Rang stopped contacting me. I thought my life would return to normal and I could smoothly get through university, but a few days later, Chen Jiajiao called me. Her tone was hesitant. Shenli, can you come over for a moment? 5. I frowned and asked, what's wrong? Chen Jiajiao's tone was hesitant. I'm at the mall next to the school. I'm not feeling well. Can you come over? What's wrong with you? Chen Jiajiao said she wasn't feeling well and asked me to pick her up. Although I didn't understand why she came to me, we were after all roommates. Chen Jiajiao rarely asked me for help, and I was afraid she might really be feeling unwell with no one to assist her, so I packed up and went over. When I arrived at the agreed restaurant, I saw Chen Jiajiao sitting at the table, not alone, but with Lu Minghan seated across from her. My face immediately turned cold. What do you mean? Didn't you say you were feeling unwell? Your boyfriend is sitting right across from you. Why not ask him for help? Chen Jiajiao's face turned ugly as she stood up and pulled me. I'm sorry, Shenli. I lied to you. I was afraid you wouldn't come out. We just wanted to treat you to a meal. Please sit down first. I pushed her away impatiently. I'll take my leave if there's nothing else. As I turned to leave, Lu Minghan spoke coldly. What did you do to Jiang Rang? He's acting very strange right now. I looked at Lu Minghan. What does his bad mood have to do with me? I'm not close to him, nor am I close to any of you. I turned my gaze to Chen Jiajiao. Don't bother me with your problems in the future. As I turned to leave, Lu Minghan raised his voice. Dare to leave, Shenli. If you walk away, I'll tell Jiang Rang your secret. I stopped, curling my lips in a cold smile. What secret do I have? Go ahead, tell me. Lu Minghan's expression darkened. Just keep it in your heart. What do I know? You can't say it out loud, so you're just spreading rumors. Is that it? Lu Minghan clenched his fists, staring at me intently. The you in Jiang Rang size is different from the you we see. I seemed to hear some ridiculous joke and burst out laughing. Ha ha ha. Are you out of your mind, you lunatic? You should ask Jiang Rang about that. How would I know what I look like in his eyes? I turned around, and the moment I left, all expression vanished from my face. Chen Jiajiao chased after me, her face pale as she apologized. I'm sorry, Shenli. I don't know what's wrong with Lu Minghan. He insisted I invite you out. It's my fault. I'm sorry. I ignored Chen Jiajiao, but she grabbed my arm. Shenli, please forgive me. Don't give me the cold shoulder. I frowned at Chen Jiajiao. Do you really need to? It's not like you're lacking an ordinary friend like me. Chen Jiajiao's face stiffened, tears welling up in her eyes. Shenli, I genuinely want to be friends with you. Stop pretending. Just say what you want to say. If you don't speak up, we won't need to talk anymore. Chen Jiajiao bit her lip, hesitated for a moment, and spoke with difficulty. Lu Minghan is very interested in you. I really like him, but every time we meet, he only asks me about you. If you ignore me, he definitely won't pay attention to me either. I was stunned, feeling everything was utterly absurd. You still like him even though he's like this? Chen Jiajiao was on the verge of tears. This is the first time in my life I've liked a boy so much. I'm begging you, please help me. If I help you, who will help me? I said coldly, then pushed her away, changing my mind about leaving. I turned back into the restaurant and found Lu Minghan at his seat. If you keep having my roommate spy on me again, I'll call the police directly. When Chen Jiajiao rushed over, this was the sentence she heard. Her mouth fell open. Her expression flustered. Lu Minghan's pupils trembled. His emotions complex. Shenli, what are you talking about? Chen Jiajiao came over, trying to stop me. I pushed her away with an icy glare. Chen Jiajiao, I'm telling you, if it weren't for our roommate relationship, I would have called the police. I'm willing to let you off this time, so just shut up. Chen Jiajiao immediately backed down, not daring to speak. I turned to look at Lu Minghan with cold eyes. Write me a handwritten promise letter. If you harass or surveil me again, violating my personal rights, I'll make sure you spend a few days in jail. 6. Lu Minghan's brows were tightly furrowed, his eyes reddening. Shenli, will you write it or not? Lu Minghan said, I want to talk with you. I refused immediately. We have nothing to talk about. Lu Minghan stood up, his eyes reddened, clenching his teeth tightly. Why can you change so quickly? I raised an eyebrow and sneered. What have I changed? Lu Minghan shook his head, murmuring, No, This isn't how things were supposed to go, Shinli, have you forgotten everything? My heart ached as I picked up the phone, its screen frozen on the 110 emergency call interface. Will you sign the written pledge, or should I call the police? Lu Minghan's face stiffened. I'm not wrong. I won't write it. You're not wrong. You're not wrong to have someone spy on me. After I finished speaking, Lu Minghan stared at me intensely, suddenly raising his voice. That's because I like you. I want to pursue you. So I want to know about you. Is that really not okay? Lu Minghan's words stunned everyone present. The commotion had already drawn a crowd, and now, watching a super handsome guy pouring his heart out to an ordinary girl. Everyone was dumbfounded. The most stunned person was Chen Jiao. Even if Lu Minghan's behavior was unusual, in her eyes, there was no way he could be interested in me. How could such a dazzling star be attracted to someone as ordinary as me? How could this be possible? She had considered many possibilities, but this one was the only one she ruled out. I also froze for a moment before finally speaking up. I don't like you. In my eyes, you're disgusting. Write the guarantee letter. Or I'll call the police. Lu Minghan's eyes grew even redder, and he trembled slightly. Shinli, stop pretending. He walked over, trying to grab my hand. You've come back too, haven't you? You just don't want to face me. Shinli, stop acting. Just tell me clearly what's going on. I just want one answer, Lu Minghan shouted, his reddened eyes making him look somewhat unhinged. I pushed him away, took out my phone, and dialed the police. Lu Minghan, Chen Jiao. And I all went to the police station together. The consequences weren't too severe since no harm was done to me. Lu Minghan and Chen Jiao handwrote apology letters and signed pledges. But this incident caused quite a stir at school. The mall near the school is mostly frequented by students from the same school. Someone took a video and posted it on the school forum. Before we could even resolve our dispute, the news had already spread like wildfire. The top trending post on the school forum was about us, Lu Minghan pursuing an ugly girl, and getting rejected, with the other party even calling the police. Oh my, Lu Minghan never dates. Turns out this is his type. What does that girl even look like? Video screenshot. Oh my god, she looks so plain. Even my roommate is prettier than her. This girl is something else. Not only Lu Minghan, but Jiang Rang also likes her and got rejected. Lu Minghan and Jiang Rang are still friends too. This girl's got some serious skills. While you're all marveling, I just want to learn this sister's flirting techniques. Please, how did she make the two most popular guys in school fight over her? Are you all normal, only caring about looks? The woman has already reported to the police. Even if Lu Minghan is handsome, his character is quite rotten. She doesn't like him, yet he keeps dragging her along and hires people to monitor her. If I had such a pursuer, I'd be terrified to death. You're thinking too highly of yourself. Lu Minghan wouldn't pursue you. Ha, you're insane, valuing looks over principles. By the time they left the police station, it was already very late. Chen Jiao cried until her eyes were swollen, looking pitiful enough to melt anyone's heart. Having just signed the guarantee, Lu Minghan could only glare at me fiercely, not daring to approach me for conversation again. Exhausted, I spoke to Chen Jiao. Go back and move out of the dorm. I don't want to share a room with you anymore. If you're unwilling, then I'll be the one to leave. Chen Jiao's voice was hoarse. I'll move it myself. Don't need your help. Her eyes held a trace of resentment as she looked at me. Then she turned to Lu Minghan, raised her hand, and slapped him across the face. You knew exactly how I felt, yet you treated me like this. You used me as a tool. Lu Minghan, how did I ever wrong you? I hate you. You scum, let's never contact each other again. Chen Jiao cried out. While Lu Minghan remained silent, sobbing, Chen Jiao ran away. This incident had hit her hard, but I don't think this is a bad thing. It can make her quickly lose interest and see clearly what a scumbag he is, also preventing her from sinking deeper. When I was about to go back, I saw Jiang Rang coming over anxiously. His eyes were full of concern. I came as soon as I heard the news. Shinli, are you okay? 7. I dodged the coat he was about to drape over me. I'm fine. I'm going back. Jiang Rang was stunned. I'll walk you. I still refused. I'm not close with you. Jiang Rang held me back. It's late now. Taxis are hard to get. Just think of me as your driver. Alright. Lu Minghan stood aside, his face dark as he interrupted Jiang Rang's words. Shinli, don't go with him. I sighed and patted Jiang Rang's shoulder. You go pick up that one instead. He's not right in the head, so you'd better keep an eye on him. I'll ride my bike back myself. After saying that, I walked to the side, scanned a shared bicycle, pushed off with my foot, and rode back. As I rode, I hummed a song. How many times did we say goodbye in those hurried years, delaying after farewells? Pity no one ever admitted that love wasn't just a grand debate of human desires. I gazed at the street lamp on the corner, dim yet bright, while behind me came Lu Minggan's trembling shout, "Shenli, you lied to me." I froze. Realizing belatedly that this song was Lu Minggan's favorite, he loved listening to it, and after hearing it so often, I could hum it too. I stared at the dim yellow light, pedaling harder, then stretched out my left hand and waved behind me, "Goodbye," but clearly, as long as I remained at this school, saying goodbye to Lu Minghan was impossible. Originally, some people thought the forum posts were just rumors or misunderstandings. How could Lu Minghan possibly pursue someone as ordinary as me? But later, Lu Minggan's behavior became increasingly obsessive. He started seeking me out, pursuing me with the same reckless intensity as in our past life. The unwillingness in his eyes reminded me of us in that previous lifetime. Back then, I believed Lu Minghan was just toying with me, so I repeatedly refused to meet him. He got my phone number from my roommate, found my payment app, and transferred me 10 payments of 5,200. When I tried to transfer the money back, he had already blocked me. With such a large amount, I definitely had to return it. Helpless, I met with Lu Minghan to clarify things with him. It was at that time that I gradually became moved by the young man's passion and sincerity. Back then, Lu Minghan truly loved me, so his childish trick worked. In this lifetime, he used the same trick again. When my phone showed a transfer of 5,200 yuan, I immediately knew it was Lu Minghan. When he sent the third 5,200 yuan transfer, I blocked him. Even if he's willing to transfer the money, I can't be bothered to look for him. This small amount means nothing to Lu Minghan, since he noted it as a voluntary gift. Let's just consider it as charity. Lu Minghan couldn't wait for me to reach out, so he called me instead, on the other end of the line. He chuckled softly, as if he'd caught me red-handed. "You came back after all. You still remember me, Shenli. Even if your appearance has changed, your personality never will. The old you would have contacted me no matter what to return the money." I remained silent and hung up the phone. From today onward, I won't answer any calls without caller ID. Lu Minghan waited outside my dorm every day, holding a fresh bouquet of flowers each morning as I headed to class. He didn't disturb me. Just watched me quietly. "Shenli, I just want an explanation." I reported him to the school, which strictly prohibited Lu Minggan's behavior, but that didn't stop him. He stopped bringing flowers, but instead kept coincidentally meeting me around campus. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore and confronted him directly. "Come, let's have a proper talk." 8. I once asked what Lu Minghan thought of me in his eyes. He said I was radiant with pearly teeth, as beautiful as a celestial maiden. I always took it as a joke, never took it seriously, but now, I want to know, what do I truly look like in Lu Minggan's eyes? I gave him a piece of paper and asked him to draw my portrait. "Draw the Shenli in your heart." Lu Minghan froze. "You finally confessed to me. Draw her," I urged once again. Lu Minghan took the paper and held the pen, but didn't make a move for a long while. I frowned. "If you can't draw, we can find someone to do it." Lu Minggan's hand holding the pen trembled violently. Suddenly gasping for breath, his entire body shook uncontrollably. Without making a single stroke, he pushed the paper and pen onto the floor. He looked at me, his eyes filled with fear and despair. "I don't remember her anymore. I don't remember her. That face turned into yours." He suddenly lunged forward and grabbed me by the collar. "Give her back to me. Give my Ali back to me." Lu Minghan pushed me against the wall. I silently watched as he gradually broke down. Until finally, he begged me for mercy. "Please, give my Ali back to me. I miss her so much. I miss her so much." Lu Minghan was crying, and my heart ached with each sob. I spoke, my voice very soft. "Your Ali has already disappeared." Lu Minghan froze and asked me, "Where did she go?" "The her from before loved you, but now she doesn't anymore. So, your Ali has disappeared." As I spoke, Lu Minghan stared at my face, murmuring, "She's you, isn't she?" I took out that ring right in front of Lu Minghan. Lu Minghan recognized it immediately as the ring I often wore. He became emotionally agitated. "Where did you get this ring from?" I placed the ring in my palm and held it out to him. "I found this ring. Inside the box where I picked it up, there was an instruction manual. It said that by wearing this ring, you can become the ideal type of your secret crush." Back in college, I was an ugly duckling. So my fantasy was the most popular guy on campus. "You, Lu Minghan." Lu Minghan snatched the ring like a madman, completely believing my words without a shred of doubt. "Shenli, I beg you to put it on. Please, just let me see her one more time." I stared at him coldly, took the ring from his hand, and put it on. But after putting it on, there was no change on my body. Lu Minggan's expression immediately turned disappointed. "No change. You lied to me." I took off the ring and tilted my head at him. Because, I don't love you anymore. 9. Lu Minghan remained silent for a long time. I pushed him away. I've explained it clearly to you. Don't come looking for me again. At the moment I turned away, Lu Minghan grabbed my hand. Ollie, can you give me one more chance? I looked at him, my eyes filled with mockery. Which Ollie are you really thinking of? I pulled away from Lu Minghan's hand and saw Jiang Rang standing at the door as I left. When he saw me, his expression faltered slightly before he asked with concern, I heard your voice and came to check. I gave a faint hum and brushed past Jiang Rang. From then on, Lu Minghan stopped contacting me. He became depressed, stopped coming to school, and went for psychological treatment instead. I heard from others that he developed depression because he couldn't remember his lover clearly. After Lu Minghan left, Jiang Rang gradually became part of my life. He knows his boundaries well. Aware that I'm not too keen on interacting with him, so he gradually approaches me, maintaining contact within appropriate limits. Lu Minghan's love is passionate and unrestrained, wishing the whole world could know about it, while Jiang Rang is the opposite. His love is a gentle stream, slowly occupying your life. This slow-boiling frog approach made me realize too late that Jiang Rang had already completely infiltrated my life. Holding a cup of hot milk tea, he waited for me after class and gently extended his invitation. A new hot pot restaurant opened near the school. Let's go try it. He remembers my preferences. I like spicy food but have a sensitive stomach, so he always prepares yogurt and stomach medicine for me. I've never worn a ring in front of Jiang Rang, so in his eyes, I'm just me. I think this ring has lost its purpose, because perhaps I've already found someone who truly cares for me. Half a year after getting to know Jiang Rang, we graduated, leveraging Jiang Rang's family connections. I smoothly secured a position at a prestigious large company, successfully transitioning from intern to full-time employee with a signed contract. On the day I became a full-time employee, Jiang Rang confessed to me. I said yes to him, looking at Jiang Rang's smiling face. I asked him, Jiang Rang, do you love me? He held me, his voice soft. Of course I love you, silly. I took out the ring from my hand, thinking this was my last test. Jiang Rang noticed my action. When did you buy this ring? It's really beautiful. I told Jiang Rang to turn around, and he obediently complied. After putting on the ring, I asked him to count to 3 before turning around himself. 3, 2, 1. I'm turning around now. He turned around, his originally gentle smile turning into astonishment. It lasted only a second, then quickly vanished. I asked him with a smile, now, what do I look like in your eyes? Jiang Rang remained silent. No change. I covered my mouth and giggled coyly. Of course there's no change, silly. I hugged Jiang Rang and whispered softly in his ear. Because, I don't love you at all. Jiang Rang, he screamed and kicked me out, claiming he didn't know me at all. I felt like I'd fallen into hell. When I returned to school, I found my ring was missing and had to go back to Lu Minghan's house to search for it. Jiang Rang's face turned deathly pale. I let go of him, picked up my bag, and ignored Jiang Rang's calls behind me. When Jiang Rang approached me, Lu Minghan had once sought me out. He looked much thinner, staring at me blankly. I urged him to speak, and he told me a secret. Shenli, don't trust Jiang Rang. He had a first love who died in a car accident. He's only approaching you to use you. I froze for a moment before thanking him. Thank you, I understand now. As I was leaving, Lu Minghan called out to me again. He whispered softly, Shenli, I'm sorry. I turned and walked away, while the man sat behind, clutching his chest, softly murmuring the unspoken words, I love you. In the evening, my colleagues threw a party for me to celebrate my official employment. They noticed the ring on my finger. Your boyfriend bought it for you. It's really beautiful. I raised my hand and proudly showed it off. What are you talking about? I don't have a boyfriend. I bought this myself. Then why are you wearing it on your middle finger? Single people wear rings on the middle finger. I laughed, looking at the ring, lowered my eyes, and gently kissed it solemnly. Because, I am the one I love the most. Girls, love yourselves. The end. Story 2. The baby's cries were particularly piercing in the dead of night, and my temples throbbed. Xiao Xiao, the baby is hungry. Wang Chang pushed me, half asleep, urging me to make powdered milk. I stared at the little face in the crib, and my body couldn't stop trembling. Who would have thought that this little life, crying for food, would push me to my death with her own hands 18 years later? Slap. A resounding slap landed on Wang Chang's face. What the hell are you doing? He woke up instantly, covering his face and staring with wide eyes. Why should I make the powdered milk? What's the use of you? In my previous life, I always blamed myself, wondering if there was something wrong with my way of education. Later, I finally realized that raising a child should never be the sole responsibility of the mother. given a second chance at life, I will send them to hell with my own hands. I seem to hear the baby's cries again. Honey, Lele is hungry, go make the milk quickly. After muttering the words, Wang Chong turned over and went back to sleep. I was stunned. I had actually been reborn. The next second, I slapped him directly. Wang Chong woke up with a start, covering his face. Are you crazy? It's the middle of the night, go make the milk for the baby, I said coldly. He still didn't move, his voice muffled in the pillow. Aren't you awake? Just do it while you're at it. Do you have to call me? I raised my voice. Wang Chong, you're the baby's father. Taking care of the child isn't just my business. I play with her during the day. Make her complimentary food, and coax her to sleep. I even have to get up at night to make milk. You think I don't need to rest, right? He finally turned around, frowning. Can you keep your voice down? What if we wake up Lele? It's just making some milk. Do you have to be so nitpicky? I sneered. Me, nitpicky? Wang Chong, get this straight. Lele is our child, not just my responsibility. You're tired from work. But am I not tired from taking care of the child at home? You sleep like a log every day. Have you ever taken care of the baby when she cries at night? He sat up, his tone impatient too. Fine, I'll go make it. Okay, stop yelling here. Aren't you annoying? As he got out of bed, he mumbled, seriously, we can even argue over making milk. I watched him slowly walk towards the kitchen, and a chill ran through my heart. This was my husband, the father of my child. In his eyes, taking care of the child was always my business. And any problem with the child was also my fault. Looking back on my previous life, I tried my best to love Wang Lele. From the moment she was born, I devoted all my energy to her. When she was little, I got up early every day to make her a nutritious breakfast and send her to school. At night, I accompanied her to do her homework until she fell asleep. But Wang Lele dropped out of school in junior high. That day, she stood in front of me, her head lowered, and said in a small but firm voice, Mom, I don't want to study anymore. I want to learn hairdressing. I was so sad that my body trembled, but I still took her hand and said, Baby, you're still young. Although studying isn't the only way out, the more you study, the more options you'll have in the future. But she just bit her lip, with tears welling up in her eyes, yet she refused to say a word. Later, she really went to a hairdressing salon as an apprentice. She left early and came back late every day. And her hands were always stained with the color of hair dye. Looking at her like that, I was angry and at the same time, but she always said with a smile, Mom, I think this is pretty good. Until that day, she brought a boy with yellow hair home. The boy was wearing ripped jeans, had earrings in his ears, and a cigarette in his mouth, looking very casual and unruly. His name was Sun Mingwei, and she met him at the hairdressing salon. I lost my temper on the spot and pointed to the door, telling him to get out. But Wang Lele stood in front of him and shouted at me, Mom, can you stop interfering in my business? I'm already grown up. Sun Mingwei is really good to me. He gives me flowers on Valentine's Day and buys me a cake on my birthday. Since then, she got closer and closer to Sun Mingwei, and even started staying out all night. I was worried every day. She didn't answer my calls or reply to my messages. One day, she came back with red eyes, holding a pregnancy test stick in her hand. The two red lines stabbed at my eyes painfully. Lele bit her lip, her voice trembling a little. Mom, I'm pregnant. My mind went buzz. I stared at her and my voice involuntarily rose. What did you say? Say it again. I'm pregnant, and I want to give birth to the baby. Lele raised her head, her eyes showing stubbornness. I was so angry that my body shook. I pointed at Sun Mingwei and asked, Is this his child? Sun Mingwei lowered his head and didn't say a word, but Lele rushed to say, Mom, this is our child, and we want to raise him together. With what do you plan to raise the child? You've just turned an adult, and what about him? Does he have a job, an income? Sun Mingwei finally spoke, his voice very low. Auntie, I will work hard. Work hard. I interrupted him. Work hard at what? Work hard at playing games. Work hard at smoking and drinking. Do you know how much it costs to raise a child? Milk powder, diapers, schooling. Have you thought about all these things? Lele's eyes turned red, and her voice also got louder. Mom, don't talk about him like that. We really love each other, and the child is the crystallization of our love. Crystallization of love. You can't even support yourselves. What are you talking about when it comes to the crystallization of love? Lele, how old are you? Your life has just begun. Why do you want to be tied down by a child so early? Lele bit her lip and said, It's none of your business. I've already decided. I want to give birth to this child, and no matter how difficult it is, I will take responsibility. Looking at her stubborn appearance, I was both angry and, I knew that no matter what else I said, she wouldn't listen. But I still couldn't help asking Sun Mingwei, what can you give her? What can you give the child? He lowered his head, and it took him a long time to choke out a sentence. Auntie, I will find a job, I sneered. Find a job? Do you think it's that easy to find a job? Even if you do, is your meager salary enough for anything? Lele suddenly shouted at me. Mom, stop forcing him. Our business is none of your business. Wang Chang rushed up and pointed at my nose and scolded. Look at how you're a mother. The child has become like this, and it's all your fault. I couldn't believe my ears. I worked hard, tried my best to spare time to accompany Lele, gave her the best life, and raised her in a wealthy way. Why in Wang Chang's eyes, all of Wang Lele's mistakes were caused by me? Just as we were arguing, Sun Mingwei suddenly pushed me hard. The back of my head hit the corner of the tea table hard, and blood immediately flowed out. Dad, Brother Wei didn't do it on purpose. Lele's first reaction wasn't to call an ambulance but to rush to excuse Sun Mingwei. I know, Dad knows. This is an accident. It's not your fault. Wang Chang's reaction made me even more disheartened. He actually forgave them casually. I lay on the ground, my chest aching sharply, and my breathing became more and more difficult. In my ears were the conversations between Lele and Wang Chang, and neither of them thought of saving me. I tried my best to shout, but I couldn't make a sound. At this moment, I suddenly understood that no matter how hard I tried, some people and some things were ultimately unchangeable. Lele's choice, Wang Chang's indifference, and my own destiny seemed to have been destined long ago. I closed my eyes, my consciousness gradually fading, and there was only one thought left in my heart. If there is an afterlife, I will definitely not live like this again. Thank goodness. I was given a chance to be reborn. The next morning, Wang Lele woke up hungry and started crying and whining in bed. Honey, I'm going fishing. Remember to make milk for Lele, Wang Chang said as he walked towards the door, carrying a fishing tackle bag in his hand. I stepped in front of him and said, I'm going for an interview. Lele is in your care. Wang Chang frowned, his tone full of dissatisfaction. What does a man know about taking care of a child? A man is meant to do great things. We work hard outside. And women should just be good housekeepers at home, I sneered and retorted unceremoniously. After you pay off the mortgage, the car loan, and the money for your mother's old age support, is there any money left? Which expense in this family isn't being supported by me, given a second chance at life? I have already seen through his selfishness and incompetence. In this life, I can definitely take advantage of the information gap to complete the accumulation of wealth in advance. Wang Chang's face immediately turned ugly, and he stammered, wasn't there still a lot of the betrothal gift left? I looked at him coldly, my tone full of mockery. When I had a massive hemorrhage during childbirth, we used the money from the betrothal gift to pay the medical bills. The betrothal gift is my guarantee, not yours. After he finished speaking, I slammed the door and left without looking back. When I got home in the evening and opened the door, I saw Wang Chang in a hurry, holding the crying Lele, with the milk bottle on the ground and powdered milk spilled everywhere. He looked exhausted and immediately complained when he saw me. How could you leave the child and go to work? Look at what a mess the house is in. I put down my bag and said calmly, I passed the interview, and my salary is higher than yours. Why don't you quit your job and stay home to take care of the child? He was stunned, his face turning red and then white. Are you kidding me? How can a man stay home to take care of a child? Wang Chang, remember, the child isn't just mine. It wasn't my mother who urged us to have a baby in the first place. My words made Wang Chang react immediately. Before long, I heard him on the phone in the living room. Mom, Xiaowen is going to work. Come and help us take care of the child. On the phone, my mother-in-law's voice was so loud that it was ear-piercing, and I could hear it clearly even in the bedroom. I'm already at this age, and you still want to make me work to death? My body isn't in a condition to help you take care of the child. Can't you just let me enjoy my old age in peace? I sneered in my heart. My mother-in-law was only in her early 50s. She could dance square dance, climb mountains, and go for long walks without any problem. Why did she suddenly have health problems when it came to taking care of the child? Wang Chang's tone became a bit urgent. Mom, it was you who urged us to have a baby in the first place. Now you can't just ignore it, can you? If you don't come to help, we'll have to hire a nanny. But if we do that, the expenses will be high, and your old age support money might have to be stopped. When my mother-in-law heard this, her voice got even louder. What do you mean? Are you threatening me? I'm your own mother. Wang Chang sighed. Mom, I'm not threatening you. I really have no other choice. Xiaowen's salary is higher than mine, and it's better for the family if she goes to work. If you don't help, we really can't manage. My mother-in-law was silent for a while, and finally said reluctantly, fine, I'll come over tomorrow. but I'm telling you, I'll only take care of the child, I won't do any other work. I didn't listen to what they said next. Anyway, I knew that Wang Chang always had a way to make his mother compromise. In my previous life, we had to pay an extra 10,000 yuan per month to invite my mother-in-law to come. This time, that money could be saved. Sure enough, early the next morning, my mother-in-law appeared at my door carrying big and small bags. She had a stern face and mumbled as soon as she entered the door, "I really owe you with these old bones of mine." I turned a deaf ear to my mother-in-law's words and smiled at her. "Thank you, Mom." Then I turned to Wang Chang, who was making milk for Wang Lele, and said, "I'm going to work, honey." Maybe some people will ask, why not just get a divorce? Because according to the law, children under 2 years old are generally awarded to the mother for custody. In this life, I just want to stay far away from Wang Lele, let alone raise her alone. At 5 o'clock in the morning, I got up before the alarm clock rang. I drove to the Xingmei live streaming base in the industrial park, which was the base of my live streaming sales team. I picked up the name tag on the table and pinned it to my chest. Xia Wen, Senior Consultant of Xingmei Live Streaming. Dear viewers, look at the concealing power of this BB cream. In front of the 3 cameras, I switched to a sweet voice. 2 hours later, I removed my heavy makeup, tied up my ponytail, and turned into a live streamer selling agricultural products. With grape juice still on my apron, I then changed into autumn clothes and became a fashion buyer. I rotated among 6 live streaming rooms for health products, smart home appliances, and other products. I didn't collapse into the office chair until the neon lights came on. Today's sales reached 367 million yuan. Behind this string of numbers was the 1.2 million yuan put together by my parents mortgaging their house and all my savings. In the past 2 years, I claimed to be a live streamer externally, but in fact, I was the boss behind the scenes. I knew that live streaming would be the trend in the future, and I wanted to seize this opportunity. Every month, I would hand over a fixed salary, neither more nor less, just 400 yuan more than Wang Chang's. I didn't have breakfast at home, and I also had dinner outside before going home, if asked. I would say that the company has good benefits and provides 3 meals a day. As for the money for buying groceries, don't even think about it, I won't pay a penny. Wang Lele was already over 2 years old, and my mother-in-law was still chasing her around to feed her. "Good girl, open your mouth wide." "Ah, so good," my mother-in-law praised as she fed her. I went out to get some water and saw this scene, feeling nothing in my heart. My mother-in-law glanced at me and said proudly, "Look. Lele is well fed and chubby by me, isn't she great?" Indeed, she was chubby. At only 2 years old, she weighed more than 20 kilograms, and she was so fat that she looked like a ball. "Good girl, do you want to eat a roasted chicken drumstick? Grandma will take you to buy one later." My mother-in-law coaxed her. I casually reminded, "Try to eat less of this kind of food, it's easy for children to develop prematurely." Before my mother-in-law could speak, Wang Lele was unhappy. She pouted and said, "Mom is bad, Grandma is good. I don't want Mom, I want Grandma. Eat slowly." I didn't bother to say more. That reminder was like a fart. My mother-in-law even instigated Wang Lele outside. "Let's not want her. She's a bad mom." I lay on the bed and looked through the live streaming sales list. The sales of tens of millions yuan overnight made me too excited to fall asleep. This kind of exhaustion from working hard for my job was completely different from the tiredness of being a housewife. Now, I no longer have to be stingy because of lack of money, and I don't have to worry about Wang Lele's education problems. I only have work in my eyes, and it gives me confidence. I have to say that Wang Chang has indeed made some progress in the past 2 years. He got promoted and received a raise, but he also made the mistake that most men tend to make when they have money. He had an affair. I knew it was time to get a divorce. But Wang Chang had to leave the house with nothing. Wang Chang called me. As soon as I answered, he started scolding me furiously. "You should get off work earlier in the future and come back to cook. Also, get up earlier in the morning. The house is in a mess, and you don't even bother to clean it up." Seriously, I suspected that he was just looking for trouble for no reason. "Isn't your mother at home?" I retorted. "She has to cook, take care of the child, and clean the house. How tired she must be." Wang Chang said this with full confidence. "When I was taking care of the child, cooking, and cleaning the house before, why didn't I see you find someone to give me a hand?" I replied coldly. Wang Chang got angry. "What the hell do you mean? Do you not want to live together anymore?" I didn't say anything and directly forwarded the photos sent by the private detective to him. In the photos, he and a woman came out of the hotel intimately. Wang Chang was obviously stunned for a moment, but he quickly continued, "Since you already know I won't hide it from you. Men have a lot of social engagements outside. Which one of them doesn't do this? Besides, I work so hard to support the family. Aren't you satisfied? What's wrong with me having some fun outside? His brazenness was completely based on his own perception. Yes, in his eyes, a full-time housewife who can only do laundry and cooking is useless and deserves to be looked down upon. Even the child thought that such a mother was incompetent. But he forgot that I have a job now and have the confidence to stand on my own. You are indeed quite hardworking. It's so nice now that there are people to serve you both in and out of bed. Wang Lele also likes your new girlfriend very much. I won't come back. That's right. Wang Lele had already met Wang Chang's new girlfriend. It seemed that they got along well. After all, the new girlfriend wouldn't stop her from eating hamburgers and fried chicken, and would even buy her iced cola and ice cream. At night, I didn't go home. I stayed in a 5-star hotel for one night, letting the soft mattress hold me up. I had been pretending to be poor at home for the past 2 years, and I hadn't felt this relaxed for a long time. The next day, I rented an apartment and started a new life. I rushed back and forth between the company and the apartment every day and didn't even glance at my former home. Wang Chang panicked, because his girlfriend was pregnant. Xiaowen, are you crazy? Why don't you come home? Are you fooling around with men outside? My mother-in-law shouted at me on the phone. Wang Lele's voice also came through. I don't want this bad mom. I want Aunt Zhang to be my mom. Let her die. A child so young actually cursed someone to death. I knew that the saying man's nature at birth is good wasn't true. Wang Lele had some innate bad qualities. The calls from home became more and more frequent. After a month, Wang Chang finally couldn't hold back and proposed a divorce. I agreed to meet him and negotiate. As soon as I got to the door of the house, I heard laughter and chatter coming from inside. Wang Lele was laughing happily and said, Aunt Zhang, I like you so much. A sweet and clear female voice replied, I like Lele too. I really wish you were my daughter. Auntie will make a lot of fried chicken and hamburgers for you to eat. This was Wang Chang's new lover, Zhang Xiaojing. Wang Chang was also there. He interrupted and said, Don't spoil her too much, she's too fat now. Zhang Xiaojing smiled and explained, The child is still young. She will naturally lose weight when she grows up. It's just baby fat now. My mother-in-law also chimed in, Yeah, it's normal for a child to be a bit chubby. I said the same thing before. That damned woman Xiaowen even talked about hormones and precocious puberty. She was just scaring people. I stood at the door, expressionless, listening to all this. After pushing the door open, 4 pairs of eyes all looked at me at once. Wang Lele hadn't grown taller, but she had gained a lot more weight. The flesh on her face had squeezed her eyes into a slit. This was caused by her eating high-calorie food every day. She was already annoying. And after getting fatter, she looked even more ill-tempered, completely lacking the soft and cute appearance that a child should have. Wang Lele suddenly threw herself into Zhang Xiaojing's arms. I don't want her. Aunt Zhang is my mom. I ignored Wang Lele's words and directly looked at Zhang Xiaojing. She seemed a bit embarrassed and forced a smile at me. Wang Chang immediately stood in front of Zhang Xiaojing, frowning and glaring at me, his tone full of dissatisfaction. Don't blame Jingjing. It's you who left home and didn't come back. That's why I brought her back to take care of Lele. I sneered. Wasn't it you who had an affair first? As soon as Wang Chang heard this, he immediately stood up and raised his voice. What are you talking nonsense about? Who had an affair? Now you're even good at turning things around, aren't you? I looked at him coldly, my tone calm but sarcastic. Fine, you didn't have an affair. And she's not pregnant either. As for the divorce, since you said that, then let's just drag it out and see who can afford to wait. After saying that, I turned around and was about to leave, but Wang Chang suddenly called out to me, his tone a bit flustered. Wait, what exactly do you want? I stopped and looked back at him, my tone firm. I don't want anything. Since you proposed the divorce, then we'll follow the legal procedures. I looked at Zhang Xiaojing's belly, which was slightly bulging. I estimated that she was already 3 or 4 months pregnant. If we waited for the legal judgment, I'm afraid she would give birth soon. I sneered in my heart. No wonder they were so eager to get a divorce. My mother-in-law suddenly spoke, her tone urgent. This divorce must be finalized quickly. My grandson can't be born without a father. After saying that, she covered her mouth. She also knew that she had slipped up. So that's it, Zhang Xiaojing was carrying a son. No wonder my mother-in-law was so anxious. I remembered that when Wang Lele had just turned 1 month old, my mother-in-law had forced me to have a second child, saying something like there has to be a boy in the family to carry on the family line. Now, it was all good. Zhang Xiaojing had helped her achieve this wish. I looked at Wang Chang coldly and said directly, since you've all planned it out, I have nothing more to say, divorce is okay, but the conditions have to be as I say. Lele will be in your custody, the house and the savings will be mine, and you'll leave the house with nothing. As soon as Wanchang heard this, his face immediately changed, and his tone became a bit excited. What do you mean by that? Why should I leave the house with nothing? The house and the savings were earned by both of us. I sneered and pointed at Zhang Xiaojing's belly. Just because you had an affair and got her pregnant, if you don't agree, then we'll see each other in court and see how the judge will rule. Wang Cheng was suddenly at a loss for words, his face turning pale with anger. Zhang Xiaojing stood aside, her head lowered and not daring to speak, her hand unconsciously touching her belly. Seeing this, my mother-in-law quickly interrupted. Qiang, just agree to it. The most important thing for our family now is my grandson, everything else is not important. We can earn the house and the savings back if we lose them. But we can't delay the child. Wang Cheng gritted his teeth. It was obvious that he was struggling internally. After a long while, he finally sighed and his tone softened. Fine, I agree to leave the house with nothing. Zhang Xiaojing then raised her head and said tentatively, then, can we go through the formalities as soon as possible? I'm afraid that if it's delayed for too long, it will be bad for the child. I gave her a cold look and didn't respond. My mother-in-law quickly chimed in. Yes, let's do it quickly, don't delay my grandson. I was too lazy to entangle with them anymore and directly said, we'll go to the Civil Affairs Bureau to go through the formalities tomorrow and solve it all at once. Just like that, Wang Cheng compromised and agreed to leave the house with nothing. I knew that Wang Cheng still had an annual bonus that he hadn't taken out, which was probably hundreds of thousands of yuan. This included the salary he had withheld over the years. But now I didn't care about that little money at all. After all, the house was more valuable. I successfully divorced Wang Cheng. The house and the savings all belonged to me. My mother-in-law sent me a text message scolding me. Qiaowen, you're so heartless that you don't even want your child. My son earns 86,000 yuan a month, and we'll be able to buy another house soon. Do you think you're amazing just because you have money and savings? Hee. Now you don't have a husband and you don't have a child either. No one will take care of you when you're old. My mother-in-law's mouth was still as tough as ever and hadn't changed at all. My state was getting better and better, and I was full of vitality. All my efforts hadn't been in vain, and I finally saw the rewards. In the past, I had given all my energy and love to my family and my daughter, but now, I was just putting that energy and love back on myself. 3 months later. In the lobby of the Xingmei live streaming base, Qiaowen, stop right there. Wang Cheng dragged Wang Lele and rushed through the revolving door, with my mother-in-law following closely behind. I turned around and sneered, we've already got the divorce certificate. If you have something to say, spit it out quickly. Why don't you care about the child? Wang Cheng pushed Wang Lele, whose nose and tears were all over her face, forward. Look at how fat your daughter has become, she's like a pig. I glanced at Wang Lele, who was gnawing on a fried chicken, grease spots splashed on her pink dress in XXXL size. Wasn't this raised with the annual bonus you hid? 368,000 yuan is enough for her to eat until she weighs 200 jin. Wang Cheng was left speechless by me. My former mother-in-law slapped her thigh and shouted, now that you have money, you think we're poor. Your daughter calls for you every day. Wasn't it you who taught her to call me a witch? What? Do you remember now that I'm her mother? I retorted, leaving my former mother-in-law speechless. You fucking lied to me. Wang Cheng threw the divorce agreement on the ground. You said you had a monthly salary of 8,000 yuan, but it turns out you're the boss of such a big company. He pointed at my huge poster on the wall, the Xingmei CEO Annual Award Ceremony. I didn't know where they got the news. They had set their eyes on the live streaming company and came here to cause trouble with the intention of taking advantage. My former mother-in-law suddenly sat on the ground and slapped her thighs while crying and wailing. There's no justice. The daughter-in-law drives a Porsche and lives in a big villa, while making her husband and child squeeze into a small shabby house. Mom is bad. Wang Lele suddenly splashed the cola on my high-end custom-made suit. Aunt Zhang said you're a witch, and when you die, all the money will be mine. Taking the opportunity, Wang Cheng grabbed my arm, either give me 50 million yuan, or I'll bring Lele here to cause trouble every day. I shook him off and sneered, who had an affair during the marriage, who transferred the property, you lied to me. The veins on Wang Cheng's forehead bulged. Could you have started the company without my support? Hee. Did I lie to you to sleep with someone else? The 1,000 yuan you gave me every month wasn't even enough to buy groceries. I took out my phone and showed the transfer records. Look, you transferred 1,000 yuan every month and even noted voluntary gift. Wang Chang's face turned pale. I directly confronted him. The money to start the company was the money my parents had saved for their old age. The legal representative of the company is my father, and my mother is in charge of the financial seal. You can't even find the door number of the company. My former mother-in-law suddenly slapped her thigh. What about the betrothal gift money? The 100,000 yuan betrothal gift was already spent. I paid for the prenatal checkups and the childbirth. If you want the bills, the company's lawyer will send them to you. Wang Chang reached out to grab my phone, and I slapped his hand away. Want to divide the money, reincarnate as a cleaner in my company in your next life. I didn't want to waste time and turned around to leave. Suddenly, Wang Lele hugged my leg. Mom, I don't like Zhang Xiaojing. She has no money. I want Mom. Is this the script your dad wrote for you? I found it ridiculous. Wang Lele shook her head. I want to live in a big house and eat a lot of hamburgers. Let go. I'm not your mom. I looked at her indifferently. She was indignant. The book says that moms all love their children. You don't deserve to be my mom at all. Go find whoever deserves to be your mom. You're a witch, a despised woman that no one wants. Wang Lele swore, and the words didn't sound like they came from a child under 3 years old at all. She was beyond redemption. I turned around and left without hesitation. A week later, Ms. Xiao, something's wrong. When Xiaomei burst into the office, I was signing the last contract. I frowned and put down the pen. How many times have I told you that when something happens, you're on the blacklist of the trending topics? She directly pushed the tablet in front of me. Wang Chang is live streaming with Lele, playing the victim. Now the whole internet is scolding us for being a heartless company. I clicked on Weibo. And the topic #heartless female boss abandons husband and daughter hashtag was on the trending topics. In the top video, Wang Chang was sitting on the sofa, holding the crying Lele. Dear netizens, please judge for us, Wang Chang said in front of the camera. My ex-wife had an affair during the marriage and transferred the property. She doesn't even want her daughter. The child is less than 3 years old. Since she was abandoned by her mother, she has been having nightmares and wetting the bed every day. Last week, she had a fever of 40 degrees. I knelt in the hospital corridor, holding the child, and begged the doctor to see her first. Where's the money? The money was all transferred away by this vicious woman. Back then, when she had a massive hemorrhage after giving birth, I was so anxious outside the delivery room that I almost sold the house to raise money. But now she's actually hiding the property during the marriage. The video suddenly switched to a close-up of Lele. The child under 3 years old had red and swollen eyes from crying. Mom doesn't want me anymore. Mom took all of Dad's money. Mom said that Lele is fat. She suddenly burst into tears. The comment section exploded immediately. If a child so young hasn't controlled her weight well, it must be the mother's responsibility. Such a woman deserves to go to hell. Find out who she is, expose her company, reveal the address, send wreaths. I tapped the table with my fingertips. Ask the technical department to check the IP addresses. Mark all the big accounts that are inciting the public opinion. An hour later, there were crowds of reporters downstairs of Xingmei Media. The internet trolls hired by Wang Chang were very professional. The return rate in the live streaming room soared by 300%, and the brand owner's termination letters came flying in like snowflakes. Ms. Xiao, should we close the live streaming room first? The director of public relations had sweat on his forehead. No, I played with my phone. Inform all the live streamers to go live as usual and turn on all the backup cameras. At 8 o'clock that night, Wang Chang's live streaming account was suddenly pushed by a top influencer, with the title being Expose the Scandals of the Heartless Ex-Wife. Ms. Xiao, the director of public relations, hand holding the termination letter, was shaking. At least issue a statement. Statement. I suddenly laughed out loud. Issuing a statement now is like feeding raw meat to a starving wolf. I put down the water glass in my hand. If you're going to feed it, you might as well feed it something poisoned. Special effects of fireworks exploded in Wang Chang's live streaming room, and there were continuous rewards. The number of viewers soared straight up, reaching as many as 1 million. He deliberately changed the background to our wedding photo and wiped his tears hypocritically. She transferred as much as 20 million yuan of the property during our marriage. When she gave birth to a child back then, I stayed by her side for 3 days and 3 nights. When I kicked open the door of the live streaming room, Wang Chang was performing in front of the camera. Mr. Wang, I slapped the prenatal examination form on the table. Zhang Xiaojing is 32 weeks pregnant. I deliberately paused and watched as his cold sweat dripped onto the divorce mediation document. However, it's only been 3 months since we got divorced. You're spouting blood. Wang Chang suddenly overturned the chair. I don't know her. I chuckled and raised my phone to play the recording. Zhang Xiaojing's sweet and greasy gasps exploded in the live streaming room. Brother Chang, will your wife find out? So what if she finds out? Does that shrew dare to mention divorce? His expression froze instantly, like a rooster with its neck choked. The bullet comments scrolled frantically. Damn, an earth-shattering reversal. OMG, a live broadcast of a bed scene. Where's the guy who was crying just now? Dear viewers, I turned to the camera and held up the prenatal examination form. This Mr. Wang, who claims to love his wife dearly, actually had an affair during the marriage a long time ago. It's only been 3 months since we got divorced, and his son is about to be born. The image of Wang Chang hugging the pregnant woman and entering the elevator in the surveillance footage caused exclamations in the bullet comments. He calls himself a loving father who has been raising the child alone as if his wife were dead, but he was just busy accompanying his mistress. You're talking nonsense. Wang Chang suddenly picked up a chair and threw it at me. This is all synthesized by AI. The veins on his neck bulged. It's you who hid the property during the marriage. Whether I hid the property during the marriage or not will be investigated by the public security organs. I looked at Wang Chang, who was shivering across from me. By the way, how many years is the sentence for bigamy, plus the crimes of slander and fabricating evidence? Wang Chang rushed towards me but was stopped by the police. The police put handcuffs on Wang Chang. Wang Chang, you are suspected of bigamy and slander. You are now under formal arrest. Wang Chang suddenly broke free from the restraint and knelt down on the ground. Wife, I was wrong. It was all that bitch Zhang Xiaojing's idea. For the sake of our 5 years of marriage, in my previous life, I tried my best to love Wang Lele. Later, I sued Wang Chang in court, and I didn't let go of those keyboard warriors who joined in the either. According to Article 246 of the criminal law, if someone deliberately fabricates and spreads false facts, damaging others' reputation, and the circumstances are serious, they shall be sentenced to fixed-term imprisonment of not more than 3 years, criminal detention, public surveillance, or deprivation of political rights. If the same slanderous information is clicked on and viewed more than 5,000 times, or forwarded more than 500 times, it is considered that the circumstances are serious. Wang Chang was sentenced to 5 years in prison. The platform blocked a large number of Big V accounts that spread rumors randomly, ruining their livelihoods. After Wang Chang was arrested, Zhang Xiaojing went to the hospital to have an abortion with a 7-month-old pregnant belly. The doctor scolded her for being crazy. The baby can survive if it's born. What you're doing is murder. She turned around and found an unlicensed clinic in an urban village. As a result, she had massive bleeding halfway through the operation and died before the ambulance arrived. Spring passed and winter came, and time slipped by quietly. One day 5 years later, when I was buying fruits on the street, I suddenly saw an old woman and a young girl rummaging through the trash can. They gave off an unpleasant smell. I thought they looked familiar. Upon closer inspection, they turned out to be my former mother-in-law and Wang Lele. My former mother-in-law was so old that she was almost unrecognizable. Her back was hunched and she couldn't straighten up. She kept coughing and looked extremely weak. Wang Lele was dressed dirty. She tightly clutched a few garbage bottles she had picked up in her hand, and there was a hint of confusion and helplessness in her eyes. I heard my former mother-in-law complaining to the sanitation worker next to her. My son gambled and owed a huge debt. Now I don't know where he's hiding. It's just me, an old woman, left to take care of the child. I really can't go on like this. Her voice trembled, mixed with deep helplessness and despair. My eldest granddaughter is only 8 years old. How can I raise her alone? Her voice grew lower and lower, and finally it almost turned into a murmur. My son was so good before. How could he get addicted to gambling? She continued to chatter on. She talked about how much debt her son owed, how the creditors came to the door every day to demand repayment, how her daughter-in-law left without even saying a word, and how the child cried for her parents every day. Wang Lele got annoyed. You old hag, buy me fried chicken. Wang Lele suddenly tore at my former mother-in-law's hair like a madwoman. My former mother-in-law